Simon, yo. Yeah, Simon, yo. Simon, yo. One of the things I did that a lot of white people would respond back to me about while they were trying to have sex with me and sending me naked pictures. I was like, Simon, yo. You keep saying yo. You keep saying yo. This is why it's happening. Here's my pussy. Here's my pussy. Here's my pussy. But it's what's bringing you to me. Figured out. White people, one of the things about them I noticed, it took me a long time to figure it out. And this is just one of their problems. And I'm judging them by their own measure. There's a book that they write and they update it every year called the DSM or something, Diagnostical Statistical Manual, something like that. It is all of the diagnoses of mental illness. They write whole, thick ass textbook catalogs of how many different types of crazy they are. This is how fucked up this individual is. Or as I showed people, they literally designed the straitjacket for themselves. Straitjackets used in mental hospitals, designed in Germany by German people. Mental illness, just a common thing amongst them. It could be genetic, it could be environmental, it could be psychological, it's probably all three, how you're raised, your upbringing, abuse, whatever, trauma. One of the things I noticed, though, that's the worst about them, at least in my opinion, or maybe that I just understand and I don't really know half of what's worse, half of what's really bad, is the fact that their whole identity exists upon a fallacy that they know is wrong, that they know is evil. And yes, I'm going to revisit the 4, 9, or really the whole way they just use numbers to justify what they're doing that they know is incorrect. So for a long time, I thought, well, I just got to prove to them it's not 4 and 9. I said, no, they know it's wrong. They know it's wrong. But see, when they're saying 4 and 9, it's not because they've made a mistake. They're telling you, nigger, know your place. 4, I'll wipe some more of you out. Shut the fuck up. So bring it. Best believe, I'll wipe you out like all of Cali. I'll wipe you out like that cracker on a train. I mean, we can just get personal, I'm so down for putting a hole in a devil's head, Because if you get rid of one devil, an angel gets part of his wings back. I told people I went to the Crossroads. And I literally did. Going to the Crossroads is a old thing black people used to do, like blues musicians, which I am. They would go down this, I think it was Route 61 or whatever, and then meet the devil. Then they would get a deal from him. So, studied up biblical history. I said, how could I go to the Crossroads without actually selling my soul? How could I do both? So let me talk to the devil himself. Did it spiritually. Now, you can believe me or not. This sounds crazy, but this is something black people did for a long time. The greatest musicians. Possibly the reason why I could play 7 different genres, at least. By the way, the 6th genre of my music, the music video was just dropped and will be out on streaming. Black Beethoven. Me playing my own version of Beethoven's 9th Symphony, Ode to Joy, on guitar. I used to play it on piano, was originally taught that. I said, let me flip it to guitar, do it in my own style. Anyway, possibly the reason why I could do 7 different genres of music, at least, you name it. Dance, whatever. I can do every element of hip hop. I don't think there's anyone who has mastered every element, Something that I realized I had to do, not to be an artist or to be successful. I never really cared about money. I was really just a, church kid after high school. Like during high school, because of experience I had, I just sunk myself into the Bible. But when I saw that racism was so powerful, it would not only get a Martin Luther King murdered, but it would literally be the problem of the beginning of history. It would literally be something that could kill Jesus himself, who might have been killed just because he was black. You're king of the Jews. I am Caesar. This is Rome. That just sounds like racism to me. So I said, I'm going to need all the help I can get. So SYMYN, with his long time and practice of spirituality, the Bible and all that, through what is deemed legitimate, through churches and reading and study, but also through ministry and other people, where I've been taught spiritual stuff by what's deemed as legitimate, by white people in a lot of cases. So what if I took that knowledge, those spiritual abilities I had, and I go to the crossroads in my own way? Would you like to hear this crazy fuck story? Now, say SYMYN isn't being fair. I'm sounding batshit crazy right now, talking about something. So white people could seem legitimate, like, oh, he's just nuts. He said he talked to the devil. Let's talk about the, at least hypothetical, way SYMYN went to the crossroads. SYMYN meets up with Satan. Satan comes to him, curls up on his lap, and SYMYN and Satan had a good fucking time. Now think about this. This is twisted. And I'm saying this is at least hypothetical. Maybe I'm just making it up. Maybe it was a bad dream. Maybe I didn't know what I was doing. What I can tell you is someone who has had experience in several ministries, who went to Catholic school from first grade to 10th grade and several Bible colleges, and you name it, personal relationships with ministers, a person who's had mentors and a lot of spiritual training too. So, this might sound legitimate what I'm telling you, but you could at least say it was hypothetical or something that I dreamed up maybe. So we'll leave it at that. However you want to take it or define it. Anyway, to continue the story, SYMYN, in his own way, does what he knew a lot of great musicians did. One of his favorites, supposedly Robert Johnson. He went to the crossroads in his own way. He tries to do it in a way without selling his soul, but just to get all the help he can get to defeat something that he knows has wiped out centuries of people, millions of people. Slavery in just the American form wiped out hundreds of millions of black people, African people. I'm going to need all the help I can get. So when SYMYN goes to the crossroads in his own way, the devil curls up on his lap. And SYMYN and the devil have a great time. And every now and then, the devil tries to punk him and talk, whoa, what the fuck? And SYMYN backs away like, hey, we were cool. Why? And the devil comes right back. It's real nice. And it's the same shit happens. SYMYN lets the devil know, fuck, I'm going to need your help. If you think this is a bullshit story, listen to the song Sinner Man, consequently my favorite song by Nina Simone, that I never really paid attention to the lyrics to, consequently a person who died right when I started listening to them. Right when I released my first album also. I think it was my first or my second. Listen to the song Sinner Man by Nina Simone. Anyway, so the devil shows SYMYN something. I can't be around you. I can't help you. That's why I'm nice to you. And then because of what white people will do. Yeah. Let's revisit the story of, was it Babylon, or where you had the Semitic people, was it? Who, in their attempt to reach heaven, they came up with the idea of just, I think it was building bricks until they got all the way up to heaven. God, seeing it was actually a threat, washes out the earth and gets rid of them. Now, if those same people could come up with an idea in ancient times to get to heaven and God would view it as a threat. Now, this is literally me quoting the text. Would they be capable of doing the reverse? Would they find some way to descend and maybe to overthrow Satan or to control or have more power or to at least utilize him? Say this isn't true. Have you ever seen the phenomenon in white culture of, as I mentioned before, goth or being gothic, devil worship, Satanism? People like Marilyn Manson even, who do it on a commercial level, but not really the way that it's seen before. Another thing that I came in contact with people when I was young, white people who were Wiccans, white witches, you name it. See? When you have people who would go to the highest heaven or the lowest of hells for power, to get their way or for whatever reason, but really just for power. In my opinion, all racism, whether it be Nazism, white supremacy, overthrowing an election, whatever, anything that white people really do, it's really for power. Rape, that's the whole idea of power. Murder, that's power, depending on what your focus is. But it's still, most of their things are power. Power moves, Yeah. It's an interesting thing that I learned. And Satan showed me, like, I couldn't help you if I wanted to. They control everything. And it was something that I learned also about God. Tell me God wasn't with someone like Martin Luther King. Tell me there aren't tons of pastors who were killed of any race. There's literally a classification for it. Martyrs, martyrdom. In the earliest of Christian times, in the beginning of Christianity, the very start of Christianity, Jesus, then his apostles, were martyred. See? And there it is, white people. So powerful, like I said in the Stationary Machines video, so willing to rule that they would overtake anything and go by any means, whether it be killing a saint, whether it be descending to the depths of the devil worship, Satanism. See? And that is where that power becomes overwhelming. The power to kill a person like Martin Luther King. Some people say Martin Luther King might even be still alive, but the official story that we would have to go by that makes things all right with the world isn't really told even in its entirety. A lot of people don't know when Martin Luther King was assassinated, he was hit by the bullet and he was still alive. When he went to the hospital, doctors there suffocated him, choked him, drowned him over, it was minutes or almost hours. And when they finally killed him, his family found out through one of the hospital staff. He took it to court. The family took it to court and was only given $100 for restitution. Now, tell me the epitome of racism. You shot this person. Well, let me back it up even further. The person who shot Martin Luther King was a James Earl Ray. Mysteriously got out of jail. People believe he was let out by police. Shot Martin Luther King. And the events after that are what succeeded. Only to end with $100 restitution. Tell me that isn't something that exists on a total systemic and government and just every fucking way that white people need to go, all of them level. It's the correctional officer who lets out James Earl Ray, the person who makes sure he's armed with a gun, who else? See? When you see at every level, it's all of them. It was what I learned committing hate crimes. You would see all these white people appear, and they all knew who you were. And they were watching you the whole time. And you're like, I live in this world that I didn't know exists because I'm black. And as soon as they thought I was a little bit acceptable by doing something so despicable, I saw a glimpse of what the real world was like. Something that overwhelming and powerful globally could control every piece on the board. See, look at life like this. Say life is a chessboard. God created the chessboard, God created the chess pieces. The pieces move the way they want to. But if you control every piece on the board, if you can tell it what to do, block it, or kill it if you don't like it, it doesn't matter if God's in control. Who controls the pieces? Who controls which way they move? Who makes the rules? So you can talk about systemic racism. And now God has almost become powerless to the point where he couldn't even save himself on the cross, to the point of where a Martin Luther King would get repeatedly murdered and eventually die, even surviving a gunshot. He survived that gunshot. A lot of people don't know that. See? And there is why SYMYN takes on the number, which is an exact sequence in his social security number. Somewhere in my social security number, and I'm not going to give you the full number, even though people probably already know it, is exactly 667. I came up with the concept 667. And one day someone said, hey, what's your, and told me, I went, oh, it's in my social security number. I had no idea. And it's literally like one step from being as evil as the Antichrist, but being worse because I got God to help me fucking do it. You understand? The only thing worse than Satan and the Antichrist is the wrath of God. Anyway, there's SYMYN's story, The Crossroads. I have so many rookies and veterans, and you don't want to know on the bench, white people. You don't want to fuck with me, really. I'm the nigga who commits a crime right in front of you and teaches you what racism is about because you died or lost a limb since you watched my social media or listened to one of my songs. Did you pass by my page? You hate niggers, huh? You're going to hate your own people when they kill your child, like the woman on The View. Anyway, hard lesson learned. Needs to be done because all of you need to be gotten rid of. SYMYN, y'all, repping the truth, repping the real, standing tall. And then if any of you devils got a problem, I'll put you down like the last, 30 million? You don't want to know how many bodies I got on me. Trust. There's some people that are so dedicated to something, you wouldn't have known about it, and it was down since 1994. You want me to prove it again? You think I'm fucking around, huh? What, I didn't shoot enough? That's what you told the people at the church? I didn't shoot enough? Trust, I'll keep doing it. I'll make sure you know. 1990. Come on. Don't make the camera fuzzy. Zoom in. Zoom in, buddy. There it is. I wish you the best. Because all the other times you tried to kill me, I just popped right back up, didn't I? Have fun eating my shit until all of you are gone in 2028. And if I made a mistake and it doesn't happen, fuck, we can just go another 2,028 years. I mean, I just love making you eat shit and die every single day and kill each other and experience just a little glimpse of what it's like to be a 2-year-old SYMYN coughing up phlegm because you put mucus in both of his lungs. Die slow.